Now, it's the drought and it's only getting drier. But can we see even just the slightest bit of rain as we head into early next week? I'll let you know right here on First Alert Weather Extra. Plus, do you remember the Category 3 hurricane that devastated the Florida Panhandle and parts of southern and central Alabama 30 years ago tomorrow? Well, we're going to talk about Hurricane Opal, and we're looking back on the storm's impact on the coast and central Alabama. And we're separating fact from fiction when it comes to weather folklore. Can bubbles in a cup of coffee really predict the weather?
Live on your side, First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
Welcome into First Alert Weather Extra. First Alert meteorologist Tania Michelle here. Great to have you all joining us for another edition of First Alert Weather Extra. You know where to catch us Monday through Friday at 6:30. But I want to start off with the next big thing. We've already broken this news yesterday. The drought monitor comes out every Thursday, and this is the latest update as of yesterday, and it's only gotten worse. Drought has expanded across the state, and central Alabama is completely covered in dry conditions, anywhere from a level 4 out of 5 drought down far southwest central Alabama, Greene and Hale County. We have severe drought just further north of it and to the east of it and west. Matter of fact, Pickens, Tuscaloosa, Bibb, Perry County there with level 3 out of 5 drought. That's severe. You can see areas that are more in that tan, brownish color, moderate drought, level 2 out of 5 drought. And then those yellow areas, abnormally dry conditions for some of our eastern counties, far north and east Alabama. So we're dry all over the place. And you know what? The only thing that's going to fix it is having some much needed rain, beneficial rain. And I'm not seeing beneficial rain as far as drought busting rain goes anytime soon. We approach Sunday and we're seeing isolated activity. We can see more widely scattered showers and maybe even a storm as we approach the middle of next week. But we'll take as little as we can get. Unfortunately, right now we're dry. We're not tracking any wet weather at the current moment. Temperatures feeling great though. 70s on the map, 75 in Calhoun County, 79 in Tuscaloosa, low 80s still down south and west central Alabama, Pickens County, Aliceville, Utah, Greensboro, and in Perry County from my friends in Marion. But unfortunately, well, really, I should say fortunately, because if you're outdoors at any sideline games, you're not going to want the wet weather to ruin your outdoor plans. And it won't, because we're staying dry throughout this evening. Low 70s in the forecast right around 8 to 9 p.m. Upper 60s right around 10 o'clock. Only a few clouds out and about this evening. And we're going to see temperatures really dropping down into the 50s and low 60s, bringing in your Saturday. Saturday, the Birmingham Greek Food Festival continues. 10 a.m. temperatures in the low 70s. We'll see those afternoon highs in the low 80s, and then by late Saturday evening, temperatures back in the 70s. Take a quick look at those weather headlines. Increasing clouds as we approach Saturday. We'll start with mostly clear night skies tonight, holding on to partly cloudy skies Saturday, and could see mostly cloudy skies at times on Sunday. The big story into the weekend are those cool mornings temperatures for early Saturday. Cool morning temps down in the 50s early Saturday morning, and then we're tracking a few showers heading into next week. So that's part of the next big thing. We'll talk more about that full 7-day right here in a few minutes, but rain is the only thing that's going to break these drought conditions that we're seeing. But rain chances aren't exactly promising through the next week, and that has local firefighters very worried. Your reporter Abby Heyman is on your side tonight with advice on how to keep you and your family safe.
The latest drought monitor shows almost the whole state is abnormally dry or in a moderate to severe drought. Some counties even seeing extreme conditions. Our First Alert meteorologists tell us that October is typically the driest month on record. And on top of an already dry August and September, they say it will take around a week of consistent rain to get us out of this drought. But right now, that's not in the forecast.
We're finally starting to feel some fall temperatures. It's football season. I know all you want to do is go outside and enjoy a barbecue, grill out in the backyard, but you've got to be careful because all it takes is one hot coal or an ember in the dry vegetation to start a fire.
Coals from a fire can hold heat for several days if they're not properly put out.
Make sure that you're extinguishing your ashes, that you're letting your grill cool off, nothing flammable around it, because it will spread quick and then become a life safety hazard for all of us.
Chief McKenzie says always have a fire extinguisher and a garden hose or some kind of water if you're going to be burning. And if a fire does start, call 911 immediately. Don't wait for the flames to spread. Your reporter Abby Haymond, WBRC 6 News, on your side.
Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. Abby was mentioning that there's a lot of events happening this weekend. She mentioned game days, and I know that might make you want to grill and do things outdoors that involve fires, but please be careful and avoid burning if at all possible. Here we are looking at that UAB football game day forecast as they take on Army at Protective Stadium. 11 a.m. kickoff, mid-70s, low 80s for halftime and the end of that game. And you know the big one. Well, I think I went the wrong way. Let's go. Oh yeah, Alabama. There we go. I thought it was my sideline forecast, but here's that Alabama game day forecast against Vanderbilt. Conditions look great Saturday. Kickoff temperatures in the low 80s, warming close to mid 80s in Tuscaloosa at halftime. By the end of the game, low 80s, partly cloudy skies. It's going to feel so good. Dress comfortable, get out and about, still wear that sunscreen to protect yourself from those UV rays. But speaking of Tuscaloosa, here's the rest of this evening. Temperatures down into the 60s, but could drop down into the low 60s, bringing in your early Saturday morning. And if you're in Anniston for this evening, temperatures down in the mid 60s right around 10 o'clock. But Anniston, one of the cooler spots for tomorrow morning, could drop into the 50s in Shelby County, 66 around 10 p.m. this evening. We're holding on to that easterly wind, but we're tracking and holding on to those promising rain chances early next week that I'll tell you more about in just a bit. Well, recent hurricanes swirling in the Atlantic and near the U.S. are a reminder that the government shutdown comes in the middle of hurricane season. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration weather forecasters and disaster response specialists at the Federal Emergency Management Agency are planning to keep working during the shutdown. But as Ivan Rodriguez tells us, with both agencies already in weakened states, the shutdown adds another layer of complexity.
Both NOAA and FEMA have said experienced staff since the start of the Trump administration. At the National Weather Service, which is part of NOAA, managers are working to fill staffing gaps through hiring and moving meteorologists where needed most. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the Federal Emergency Management Agency will remain open because they're deemed essential to the protection of lives and property, but employees will still feel the impact.
They're doing the work without pay, without an understanding of when this shutdown is going to end. Will they get that back pay eventually?
Chris Vigaski with WiscoNet says he hopes the shutdown is resolved quickly so it doesn't severely impact the livelihoods of employees. The Weather Forecasting Agency has less than 4,000 employees for the first time in decades. It lost more than 560 people to layoffs, early retirement incentives, and other programs aimed at shrinking the size of the federal government. The agency has enough staff to accurately predict tropical storms and hurricanes, says a NOAA official who spoke to CNN on the condition of anonymity for fear of retribution.
The question, of course, is for how long and what other supporting capabilities, if you will, might be compromised, especially with so many people being furloughed right now.
With some local NWS offices short-staffed, former NOAA Administrator Richard Spinrad worries about weather events happening simultaneously across the country.
What happens if we have another hurricane outbreak and some wildfires in the West, severe drought in the Midwest? All of a sudden, you're stretching that workforce so very thin with regard to providing those services across the country and for all of these different environmental hazards.
The National Weather Service is working to hire new forecasters, but it isn't a fast process, and a prolonged shutdown could slow this down even more. Once hired, it could take months to train new staff, and there won't be enough to make up for all the experienced people the agency lost. I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Explore the wonders of weather with Weather in the Classroom. Scan the QR code now to help your kids soar to new heights with Soar with 6.
Well, tonight we're getting more reaction to 8 homes in the Outer Banks of North Carolina collapsing into the ocean. Those 8 homes have fallen in just 4 days thanks to big waves from 2 hurricanes offshore. As Will Thomas tells us, people who live in the area are pleading for state and federal help.
Swells pulse back in, and it's very concerning, and it's hard to just keep watching it over and over and over.
Another day of the relentless Atlantic Ocean battering the homes still standing on the Buxton oceanfront. A beach nourishment project and jetty repair in 2026 feeling like a lifetime away.
We need to encourage those residents to sandbag and do beach pushes. That's about as best we can do right now until we get the nourishment done.
Also a push from Dare County leaders and the Buxton Civic Association for help from state and federal elected leaders. One specific ask is the no hardened structure law in North Carolina to be removed.
Stroke of the pen, and this is all going, it goes away. Whether it's going to come from Raleigh or D.C., right now I think it's going to come from D.C. before it's going to come from Raleigh.
One of our local representatives is willing to entertain a bill down the road here. We're having some conversation with him about introducing a bill for hardened structures. You know, we're hoping we can make some progress there.
I showed Congressman Greg Murphy a video of the Buxton Civic Association member Wendy Munden saying that she feels the area here needs to be declared a state of emergency. Murphy shares this.
I'm happy to look at that. I don't know that it qualifies for that. I'm interested in having that conversation, but for right now, we need to look and see what these homes are, what they're salvageable, whether they need to be taken down.
For now, we're kind of having to learn how to just live with it for the time being until something can be done.
Homeowners continue to be encouraged to work with their contractors on debris cleanup for the area. Cape Hatteras National Seashore and Dare County are deploying resources to help in the area on Friday.
Tomorrow marks 30 years since Hurricane Opal made landfall in the Florida Panhandle. The Category 3 hurricane had sustained winds of 115 miles per hour when it made landfall near Pensacola. But 12 hours before, sustained winds were 150 miles per hour, which made it a strong Category 4 hurricane. The storm surge from Opal was more typical of a Cat 5 storm and decimated beaches from Pensacola through Panama City. The storm also caused huge problems in Alabama. It dropped nearly 7 inches of rain at the Birmingham airport, which saw a peak wind gust of 48 miles per hour. As it moved through, a total of 2.5 million people statewide lost power. And federal grants used to help states prepare for emergencies are on hold. The Federal Emergency Management Agency is ordering states to prove their population counts before they can get the money. States must also confirm that deported migrants are not included in that total. FEMA says some states may be getting inflated payments because most of the grants are distributed based on population. In the past, FEMA used U.S. Census data to measure state populations and determine grant allocations. Is it useful wisdom or just spinning yarn? Dan Smith is putting some weather folklore to the test in your moment of science.
It's a rapid-fire fact or fiction in the weather department. This week we're taking on some atmospheric old wives' tales, myths, and folklore. Let's start off with one a lot of you know. Red sky in morning, sailors take warning. Red sky at night, sailors delight. This one actually goes back to biblical times and relies on most weather systems moving west to east in the mid-latitudes. That's 30 to 60 degrees north and south of the equator. Water vapor, dust, and other particles tend to scatter sunlight passing through, sometimes leading to those vibrant oranges and reds when the sun is low on the horizon. A redder sunrise might indicate high pressure trapping some dust over you, with low pressure or a storm moving toward you from the west not long after, reflecting and refracting in those raindrops. At sunset, the same color might tell you that storms in the east are moving away, with high pressure taking hold once again. The verdict here, mainly true with those specific conditions. When sound travels far and wide, a stormy day will be tide. This one's easy enough. Sound waves travel faster and farther through more humid air compared to dry, and warmer air only accentuates that difference. For most practical outdoor temperatures, it's only a few meters per second difference. However, humidity and warmth are not guaranteed to get storms fired up, so we'll call this one a toss-up. Here's one I didn't hear about till recently. The bubbles in your coffee cup moving toward the center, indicating high pressure, with a low pressure day seeing the bubbles stick to the sides. This one may pass the taste test depending on how you like that coffee, but not the truth test. If anything, the myth should go the other way, with low pressure getting bubbles in the middle. Think of pressure contours like height contours in hill country or a mountain range. You roll a ball down a hill and it wants to settle in the lowest point, or in the atmosphere's case, lowest pressure. Winds converge in a surface low and diverge in a high, but that has nothing to do with your morning cup of joe. Temperature, mug shape, stirring, there are far too many factors to watch before you could ever get a reliable forecast out of that. Finally, we've covered animals as potential prognosticators before, but here's one with a fall color flare. Can the stripes on a woolly bear caterpillar predict how harsh or mild a winter will be? This one may be more of a Midwest Northeast thing, with some towns like Vermilion, Ohio holding annual woolly bear festivals in the fall for these little guys. The lore says a blacker caterpillar means a harsher winter is in the works, while more orangish brown is a sign of milder temps. They're pretty cute and fuzzy, but not a bellwether for winter weather. A better growing season does mean a bigger caterpillar and narrower orange band, but that just tells you about its past and not the future. So there you have it. 4 sayings, some true, some not, with plenty more local, regional, and international ones still to discover. For this week's Moment of Science, I'm Dan Smith.
Very interesting there, but let's take a look at the interesting forecast for the weekend. What day can you get out and about, enjoy those outdoor events, and what day will you need the umbrella and rain jacket? Well, the answer might be clear to you. Saturday looks dry, but Sunday I'm indicating that 20% chance for a passing shower, mainly south of I-20. But the big story heading into the weekend are those cool temperatures. We've got 50s to kick off your Saturday morning, some low 50s north, some upper 50s, and maybe some low 60s further down south and west central Alabama, 61 in Tuscaloosa, 58 in Talladega, 59 in Birmingham. Afternoon highs Saturday will warm up to the low 80s, nearing mid 80s. Some areas might reach mid 80s, like areas to the west of I-65. But we're going to be a little bit warmer overnight into early Sunday with those mid 60s in the forecast. But Sunday brings us our next chance of rain. Now, not a washout at all. Rain chances look really isolated Sunday and mainly occurring south of I-20 because the greater rain chances are really along the coast. And we're giving you that first alert. If you're heading down to the beach this weekend, you're going to want to use our WBRC First Alert Weather app to get notifications on when heavy rain or a thunderstorm is near you, because the coast will likely be a little bit wet out there. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, but some of that moisture is going to try to lift in to central Alabama as early as Sunday, but we can also see some of that moisture really lifting in by the early portions of next week. Here we are looking at Monday, seeing some periods of some heavy rainfall across central Alabama. Definitely going to hold on to some more cloud coverage early next week. It won't be a washout, still seeing plenty of breaks in the forecast Monday. And then Tuesday, rain chances may be hit or miss. We're talking about 30% chance at best. Widely scattered showers on Tuesday. There could be an isolated thunderstorm, but overall, I do think that Tuesday will not be a washout. So just check in for updates throughout this weekend as we get more of that high resolution data in. Now we reach the middle of the week. Wednesday, scattered showers and thunderstorms, a 40% chance. And it's not because of the moisture from the Gulf. What's happening is a front is going to move through, bringing us some rain, some thunderstorms at times. Still going to see some breaks as of right now, not looking like a washout as of the current moment. We're going to hold a 40% chance for wet weather. We may need to bump that up by next week as we really fine tune that timing and that rain chance approaching middle of next week. So Wednesday looks like our next best chance of rain as of now. Thursday, rain chances start to taper off. We're going to indicate a 30% chance with a few lingering showers. That's really about it. Thursday's the day we begin to dry up, but also cool off. 80 degrees for an afternoon high Thursday, and look at early Friday of next week. 59 degrees. Highs Friday in the 70s, so it'll noticeably feel cooler next week, and that's after that front moves through, that cooler and that drier air comes right in behind it, and that will begin to settle into central Alabama as we approach Thursday and Friday of next week. But the big deal is to realize that early tomorrow morning is going to be quite cool, mild I'd say. You might want a sweater or jacket if you have to get out early in the day. And then Sunday looking a little bit warmer, but also slightly wetter. A slight chance of that rain will be around, and then we'll see those better rain chances early next week, and more specifically by Wednesday. Let's take a look now at that beyond the 7-day forecast. Our Climate Prediction Center says, hey, we're still tracking below average rainfall for parts of the U.S., including us right here across central Alabama. So that's something to note and to pay attention to. Keep that in mind as you go about your weekend, you might want to plan to water your yard efficiently and again avoid burning because those rain chances are still very minimal. We're still going to see growing drought across the state and across central Alabama. But this is our precipitation outlook October 9th through the 13th. What about temperatures? Well, we're still trending above average. I mentioned 78 next Friday. Our average as we approach October 9th to the 13th is going to be around the mid 70-degree mark, and we're still trending a few degrees above that. But we're starting to see some differences in our temperatures across central Alabama, so we'll keep you up to date with that beyond the 10-day forecast. We'll have more right here on First the Weather Extra after the break.
You're watching WBRC 6 News, Alabama Broadcasters Association's Station of the Year.
All right, guys, here's a final look at that super 7-day forecast. A cool, mild start to your Saturday, better rain chances for the middle of next week. But overall, afternoon highs in the 80s. You don't need the rain jacket or the umbrella Saturday, but check in throughout the weekend and use our First Alert Weather app to get those updates on rain chances Sunday and early next week. Well, today I had the pleasure. Yeah, we all love weather. You love weather. I love weather. I had the pleasure of being a part of Community Helper Day at Vestavia Hills United Methodist Church Day School today. The kids love seeing the WBRC First Alert Storm Tracker, and all the kiddos were just so astonished about the clouds in the sky today. And this guy, he was in the sky too. We had so much fun talking to all the people with different trucks and vehicles. It was sort of like a touch a truck day. And you know, boys and girls at that age, Beach. They just love it and soak it all up. It was so fun. We had such a great time. But some of you have been having such a great time enjoying these sunsets. Look at this recent one from Panama City Beach. What a gorgeous shot. Thanks to Donna Sorensen for sending that one in on the First Alert Weather app. And this one, a nice look at Shelbyville, Tennessee. Oh, beautiful. That's a farm there. Thanks to Norma Bryan for sending that one. And we have more to show you. This one, this is a picture from our First Alert, our sky.